Hello friends. Today we are going to talk about quotation marks. Quotation marks are like these double ticks at the top of a sentence or at the top of a letter that shows you what somebody is saying. The only words that have this at the beginning of it and this at the end of it are the actual words that people say. So let's look at this sentence on number 1. It says, I am going to call about that job, said Jay. What did Jay say? He actually said the words, I am going to call about that job. He didn't say, said Jay. No, he didn't. He just said, I am going to call about that job. So the only words that you are going to put into quotation marks are the words that he spoke. I am going to call about that job. Those are the words that he spoke. And if those words have quotation marks at the beginning and at the end of it with a comma right here, then this is the one you're going to choose because it only put quotation marks around the words that actually came out of Jay's mouth. What did Jay say? He said, I'm going to call about that job. Okay, now let's look at the next one. Jack said, I think driving a garbage truck would be fun. Underline the part that he actually said. Jack said, I think driving a garbage truck would be fun. Now, if those words have quotation marks at the beginning of it and at the end of it, then you will mark that one. We won't mark that one because, you can't see it, sorry. We won't mark this one because it doesn't have quotation marks at the end. Let's look at the next one. Underlining the same words. This one doesn't have the quotation marks at the beginning, but it does at the end. So I can't mark that one either. Let's go to the next one. I think driving a garbage truck would be fun. Okay, it has them at the beginning and at the end. But here's the thing. Do you know at the top when it says, I'm going to call about that job, and then somebody had to pause and say, said Jay? Listen to this. Jack said, slight pause, listen to me. Jack said, I think driving a garbage truck would be fun. So that means we would put a comma right there. Okay? So we would choose this one. We wouldn't choose this one also because it has what? It has a lowercase I when it should be uppercase right there. Let's look at number 3. Mom said, I am going to call pest control on these wasps. What are the words that Mom said? The words that actually came out of her mouth. I am going to call pest control on those wasps. So you're going to underline what she said. If it has these at the beginning and these at the end, you could circle it. But I'm not going to choose that one because it doesn't have one here. Now look at this one. All right, it has some at the end and some at the beginning, and it has the comma after the word said. I might think about that one. Let's look at the next one. Well, there's no comma here, and there's no quotation marks on either side of it. So I'm not going to choose the third one. That's a big fat no-no. All right, let's look at the last one. Mom said, I am going to call pest control about those wasps. No, she didn't ask a question, did she? So I'm not going to choose that because it didn't have the right punctuation mark, and it doesn't have the quotation marks at the end, and it has, once again, used a lowercase I instead of an uppercase I. So I'm not going to choose that one. The one that I'm going to choose is this one because it has the 3 things, the comma, the parentheses, and before and after the words that actually came out of Mom's mouth. Look at number 4. We're going to do number 4 together, but then you're going to do number 5. And then when you get done with this, you're going to put it in my green tray over on my green tray. You're going to stick it in the green tray for me to check when I come in the morning. And don't forget, I want you to be on your best behavior because you do want to get that surprise pizza party and you do want to get s'mores. Okay, let's look at the next one. The fireman put out the fire in the garage, said Gail. What are the words that actually came out of Gail's mouth? The fireman put out the fire in the garage. Let's go ahead and look at the first letter of these. I can go ahead and mark off the first one. Why? Because it starts with a lowercase. And we know sentences start with an uppercase letter. All right, the fireman put out the fire in the garage is what Gail said. Those are the words that came out of her mouth. I see quotation marks here, but not here. And there's a comma missing. So I'm not going to choose that one either. Let's look at the next one. The fireman put out the fire in the garage. I see the quotation marks before. I see a comma and then the quotation marks. That one's a possibility. Let's look at the last one. The fireman put out the fire in the garage. Oh, no. You don't put a question mark there. You're supposed to put a comma. Yes, a comma before you say, said Gail. So I'm not going to use this one either. So the only answer it can be is this one. Remember, you're going to underline the part that actually comes out of their mouth and see if it has quotation marks before it, after it, and a comma. If it's at the beginning of the sentence, you're going to put it, if the quote is at the beginning of the sentence, you have to put a comma and then that quotation mark. But right here, if the quote, the words that came out of the mouth are at the end of the sentence, it's going to be Mom said, comma, and then the quotation marks, okay? Let's look at number 5. I'm just going to read it to you, and then you can answer it, and when you're done, like I said, put it in the top green tray. Maddie said, we have the nicest janitors at our school. The part that she said is this part right here. We have the nicest janitors at our school. So what you have to do is figure out which one of these matches what it takes to choose to have correct punctuation, okay? So you just go back and review that. And what I'm going to do is send you some videos on Lumio. So when you're finished with the quotation mark practice, you're going to get on Lumio, or your Gmail actually, get into Gmail, click on the Lumio, and it'll bring you to a video that talks about when to use your quotation marks, okay? This is to help you get ready for the test tomorrow. I miss you already. See you tomorrow.